So I just felt compelled to make this short video, um, kind of in light of the video I made the other day. I'll put a link above to it, just talking about how much bullshit you are being fed by so many of these law of assumption coaches. And some people have been leaving comments asking about certain coaches, or emailing me about certain coaches. Um, and it just made me think some more. And feel free, by the way, you can email me, info@radicalcounselor.com, or contact me on my webpage, and I'll give you my personal opinion about coaches I know about in the law of assumption community. And I've spoken about this before. I'll put a link above to a video I did a while ago talking about some law of assumption coaching options. But the truth of the matter is, people who are very strict about uh, being coached in this law of assumption manner are usually going to be providing you, not good coaching advice based upon your own personalized experiences. But I thought I would make this video today to remind you that, and also there is an interesting exception, or a caveat, or one variable that I can think of a coach. I wouldn't even necessarily consider him a coach, but one of the more conservative, in a way, strangely, law of assumption coaches out there, and one of the more popular, or YouTubers. Again, I don't really even know if he would consider himself truly a coach. Um, is David, the guy with the Elmer Locker Jr. channel. Um, and he's an interesting exception. Someone asked me about this in the comments, and I wrote something, but I thought I would expand upon it here, because his channel is wildly popular, and it's become more and more popular. And the difference with David compared to a lot of these other people talking about law of assumption and this very, methodical, using the same language, or just fucking stupid language way. The difference with David is that he consistently gets results for himself that he shows. Like the other day, he manifested a very expensive car, and he said like a week prior that he was going to do it, and then he did it. And he's done stuff like that before. I don't. I doubt that he's lying about a lot of this stuff, guys. Um, David's a really good example of someone who has figured out how to use these tools for himself really well, and is inspiring for that reason. And I've spoken about him before a while ago. I'll put a link above to that as well. About probably the most inspiring thing about his channel for me is his own story, and his grandfather's story. About, his grandfather being in prison after applying Neville's quote unquote laws, and about David going to prison. And that, and then David learning from that. That's, I think, really interesting. But what I don't like about his channel, and again, this is just my opinion here. I just think it's, for whatever reason, it's coming through for me to share it. What I don't like about his channel is that it's so sensationalistic. It uses a lot of stupid terminology. Um, it's so clickbaity. It's so ridiculous. All the titles seemingly are like, do this and everything will change overnight. And at least he used to. I don't watch many of his videos anymore at all. This car one was just brought to my attention the other day because Alex Khan was saying that, he's been watching some of Elmer's, or some of David's stuff, and I took a look at it. Um, yeah, it's very clickbaity, sensationalistic, and it's very easy to watch his channel and think you're doing something wrong, because he's got a very specific way of applying these law of assumption ideas. That's why I say it's almost conservative. Um, and I know a lot of you are not going to understand what I just said when I give that kind of appraisal of his approach. And from what I can tell, David doesn't even really coach people one-on-one much. He has a larger community. So anyway, that's an interesting exception. there are other interesting exceptions. You know, that video that I referenced earlier about law of assumption coaching options. Candace Toth, I think that's how you say her last name. She's an interesting exception. She's like super positive, and if you want some like high end coaching, really in this like strict law of assumption manner, that's an option too. Uh, and I think Candace might be crazy. I'm not really sure, you know, but she also has some positive, really cool stuff she shares. So if you really want to be like a strict law of assumptionist, those are a couple options. But my point of the video the other day and in general is that for most of you, staying in this kind of strict law of assumption, very sensationalistic, everyone is you pushed out, it's all a simulation, da 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 da, this like kind of hyper, like active type of excited type of manifesting, you know, it's going to work terribly for most of you. Just the truth, guys. It works terribly for me most of the time when I get into that, like really, like, you know, wee, it becomes toxic positivity bullshit. I mean, you got to figure out what works for you. And what I talk about on this channel might not be what works for you, but I'm a lot more sober, generally speaking, talking about these ideas and can simplify them for you a lot better than just about anybody I've seen on YouTube. And as I've said time and time again, I'd rather you read my books or listen to my podcast than watch my silly videos. But YouTube is a sensationalized place. Social media is a sensationalized place when it comes to these ideas. And most of you are not going to have this sensationalized life where you're manifesting big external things like David seemingly can do over and over again. You're not going to have those same experiences. Maybe you'll be able to do it once or twice, but to really integrate these ideas is going to take deeper inner work than just that for most of you. So this was a pretty, you know, like nitty gritty type of video reminder. Um, but yeah, I hope it comes through and helps some of you. And as always, remember, you are enough right now. You know, and all these teachers, I think, you know, David, Candace, uh, the sensationalist teachers, if they mean well, they're trying to get at the same thing that I think I'm trying to get at, which is that you are enough right now. You know, you are wholeness, you are complete right now. And the more we recognize that and accept that, usually the better we feel. Very, very powerful. Just to start recognizing that more. And that is something that you definitely can do. If you have any questions, I can be reached at info@radicalcounselor.com. Have a good one.